Let's go ahead and get started with some yoga. Tonight, I'm thinking we're going to work on the hips. Last week, we worked on neck and shoulders because we hold a lot of tension there. The other region of the body that we tend to hold a lot of tension is down in the hip joints, in the abdomen, the muscles of the pelvis. There's a lot of clenching that can happen there, a lot of tightening. And so our practice tonight will work on that. Naturally, when we work with the hips, the legs get a lot of attention as well. So you can expect some hamstring lengthening and lower back strengthening and stretching as well. Then of course we do a well-rounded practice. You'll get your shoulders, you'll get your neck, you'll get your you'll get your heart opening and stuff like that as well. But I think the core of our practice will be grounding into stretching the hips. So sitting tall, please. Relax your shoulders down your back. Let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale slowly and exhale slowly. Slowing down the breath. And as your breath slows down, it's allowing your mind to slow down. And let your awareness drop into your body. Let's bring the awareness down toward the belly, the hips, the muscle groups of the pelvis, the lower back, and just notice if you're holding any unconscious tension there. Is it anything you can just release through awareness? Relaxing any gripping of these muscles, letting go of those engagements. Just starting to invite the loosening or opening of this region of the body, letting go of held tension, letting go of stuckness, mind and body. Just another breath or two here. Good. All right. Go ahead and take a deeper, fuller breath, please. And bring your palms together. Honor yourself as you are in this moment, this body, this breath, your current energetic state, your current state of mind. It's in service of all of that that we practice. Go ahead and rub the palms together, creating heat between them, and take the heated palms over your eyes. And then go ahead and brush back over the top of your head, down your neck, and bring yourself back to the room. Good. Welcome, new folks. Let's go ahead and start on our backs tonight. So go ahead and lay down. Take your time getting there. And once you are on your back, it might feel good initially just to hug your knees into your chest. It's a nice grounding posture here. For many, it's comforting and calming. Good. All right. So go ahead and bring your feet flat to the floor. Have your heels about hip width apart. Good. And your arms starting down by your side. With your next inhale, please lift your arms all the way overhead, knuckles touching the floor above you. And then exhale, go ahead and bring the arms back down to your side. Let's do that again. Inhale, lifting through the fingertips, lift all the way overhead. And exhale, release the arms all the way back down. We'll do one more time with just the arms. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. This time we'll add the hips. So the arms keep moving, but inhale, lift the arms and lift the hips into the air, pressing the pelvis toward the ceiling. With your exhale, release the arms and hips back down at the same time. Again, inhale, arms and hips lift. And exhale, arms and hips lower down. Please continue on your own breath. Inhale, lifting, exhale, lowering. And, this is one of our first movements tonight. You might start to notice where there's more tension being held than you thought. Maybe the fronts of the thighs and hip flexors are a little tight, especially as you press all the way up. Inhale, lift. You might notice that the lower back or the glutes feel sore or tight. We'll do a few more rounds. Inhale, lift, and lower. Last one. Let's come into the pose and we'll stay this time. Arms overhead, pelvis pressing toward the ceiling. Let's breathe here. Aware of the inhale, aware of the exhale. Keep pressing the hips up. Glutes are engaged, lower back is engaged. Heart is lifting toward the chin. 3, 2, and 1. Carefully, slowly release the hips and arms back down. Just notice sensation so far. What's starting to get activated? Good. And then we'll practice a variation on bridge pose, which I call one-legged bridge because we'll be doing it with one leg. So you're going to take your right ankle and cross at the center of your left thigh. Right ankle, center of the left thigh, or maybe just a little bit above the knee. And then flex the right foot, pull the toes back. This flexion of the foot will keep the ankle and the knee safe in this posture. Good. Arms by your side. And with your next inhale, press the left foot into the floor and lift the hips into the air, coming into one leg bridge. Exhale, release the hips down. Again, inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. Good. Let's keep going a few more times. And it's okay if you don't come up as high as you did in normal bridge pose. This is a completely different posture, so no expectations there. Let's do 2 more, all right? Lift up, lower down. And you guessed it, with this next one, we're going to hold the pose. So go ahead and lift the hips into the air, pressing up as much as you can. And you're activating strongly through the left side of the body, the left waist, the left glute, the left hip. See if you can relax the right side just a hair. Keep the right foot flexed though. Press the hips up a bit higher. Stay for 2 more breaths. Deep breath in. And then exhale, carefully, slowly release the hips down. Good. Take an adjusting breath here, keeping the ankle crossed. Good. So we're going to go into a bit of a deeper stretch here. So keep the right ankle crossed, keep the foot flexed, and you're going to lift your left knee into your chest. Okay. So already just doing this alone, you'll feel a stretch in the hip. If you want to, you can give yourself a bit more support. You can hold on to the back of the left thigh with both hands. So the right hand would go between the legs to help hold on to that thigh. You're not yanking it into your chest. Don't do that. The hips hate that. But you will guide the knee in just a little bit to the point where you start to feel tension, which might not be that far, or it might not be at all. You might just hold it slack, and that's enough to feel the stretch in the hip. Good. Let's breathe here. Now, the hips don't like to be rushed. So we're going to take our time. And now, sometimes in this posture, the glute that we're stretching, in this case, the right glute or right hip, gets a little bit, we'll call it angsty. You can notice the tension there. And its initial response is to grip and hold because it's trying to protect the joint. We know we're just stretching it here, so you can consciously just ask that right hip to relax. It doesn't have to grip so hard. That might be a a negotiation that has to happen. Might not be today. Relaxing that right hip as much as you can, giving it permission to soften. And you might feel it relax after a few breaths. And it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. You're still getting a good stretch. All right. We're going to do more with this hip later, don't worry. Go ahead and release the left foot back down to the floor and carefully uncross the legs. Good. Make any adjustments you need to here before we do the other side. Maybe you want to straighten the right leg out a bit. Good. But we will do the other side. So bring the right foot flat to the floor, just like you had for bridge pose, heel underneath the knee, and then this time cross the left ankle, center of the right thigh. Flex the foot, protecting the ankle and the knee joint. Your arms are down by your side, and we'll go in and out of this half bridge about 5 times. So inhale, go ahead and lift the hips into the air, and exhale, release the hips down. Let's keep moving. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Let's do a few more on your own. Okay, we're heading into our last round, and again, we're going to hold. So go ahead and lift the hips into the air as much as you can, pressing up. And again, doesn't have to be the same height as you had for bridge pose. Good. Now you're activating strongly through the right side of the body, the right glute, the right side waist, the right hip. Relax the left side just a bit here. Keep the left foot flexed though, and breathe. Press up a bit higher. We'll stay for 2 more breaths. Good. Deep breath in. Carefully, carefully release the hips down. Good job. All right, we're going to keep that ankle flex here because we're going to come into that deeper hip stretch, or what could be deeper for you. All right, keeping the ankle crossed, foot flex. Go ahead and bring the right knee in toward your chest. You can just hold it here. This is a bit of a core engagement. But if you want to feel it deeper, if you feel like you need a support behind the thigh, you can hold behind the right thigh with both hands. And again, don't yank the knee in toward your chest, just guide it forward toward your body. And just hold it at the point of tension and find your breath. Now, this time it'll be the left glute that might get a bit angsty here. Again, it tries to clench because it's protecting that hip joint. But we know that nothing crazy is happening to it, or relatively crazy is happening to it. So just ask it to soften. It can relax here. And again, that might be a negotiation. It might release today, it might release tomorrow, or sometime down the road. But just ask it to soften, at least in this moment. And again, you may feel it start to relax. The hips don't like to be rushed, so sometimes it takes a few breaths before you notice any change. If you notice any at all, no expectation of that. We're going to stay for just a bit longer. Keep the right knee guiding in toward your chest. Keep relaxing the left hip. Deep breaths. All right, we'll revisit this in a little bit. Go ahead and release the right foot to the floor and uncross. Good. Stop for a moment. Feel what's there. And let's continue to loosen these hips up. So from a bridge stance, so heels underneath your knees, you're going to walk your feet forward, meaning away from your body about 6 inches, and then take your feet as wide apart as your yoga mat. Now keep your feet this wide apart. Now before we do any movement with the legs, I'm just going to have you take the arms all the way overhead again and just relax them there. You don't have to really extend, just have them overhead. And then with an inhale, drop your knees to the right. With your exhale, flatten your lower back to the floor and allow that to bring your knees back to center. And then inhale, take the knees to the left. Then exhale again, ground the lower back to the floor, drawing the knees back to center. And then inhale to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale left. And just keep going. Inhaling to a side, exhaling to center. This is helping to loosen the hip joint itself. And it's also helping to stretch the iliopsoas muscle, or there's actually two of them, one on each side. This big wraparound muscle from your lower back around the side of the body and down into the groin. A lot of times when there's tension in the hips or in the lower back, it's actually because this muscle is pretty tight. So this is helping to loosen that up for you. But you have to keep your feet mat width apart. So if they started scooching together, scooch them apart again. Inhaling to a side, exhaling to center. Loose hips here. Good. Just a few more times. All right, so personally, I feel like I could just do this all day, but we got more class to get to. So the next time the knees come back to center, go ahead and stop. And you're gonna come back into bridge prep. So you can bring your arms back down, heel stacking underneath the knees to start, and then bring the soles of the feet together and take the knees wide, reclined butterfly. Feet together, knees falling out to the side, and the heels are as close in toward your hips as you can manage. Okay, and that'll look different in different bodies. Your arms can stay on the floor for this one. We're going to do another bridge variation, this time butterfly bridge. So with your inhale, press the pinky edge of the feet down into the floor and lift your hips into the air, keeping the knees as wide as you can. And then exhale, release the hips back down. Lots of bridges tonight. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, release down. Keep going. This one is really good for your lower back, especially down around your sacrum, your tailbone, hoping to strengthen that joint itself. Let's do it just a bit more here, okay? So go ahead and lift your hips into the air. Keep the soles of the feet together if you can. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, squeeze the knees together. Keep the hips raised, take the knees apart. Exhale, squeeze the knees together again. Inhale, take them apart. Exhale, squeeze the knees together. Keep the hips pressing up. We're gonna do two more. Inhale wide. Exhale, squeeze it together. One more time. Squeeze it together and then keep squeezing, keep breathing. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Press the hips up. Squeeze. Squeeze up a bit more. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, take the knees wide and hips come down. Ooh, feel sensation here. the lower back. Good. So one last posture here on our backs, and then we'll come up and do something else. Go ahead and keep the feet together in butterfly, but bring the feet in towards your body. And so to do so, you can hold on to the shins, the ankles. Some of us might be able to hold on to the pinky edge of the feet, but just as best you can hold on to them. And then draw the feet in toward the belly. Now, as you do that, your lower back might want to pop up off the floor. You might feel yourself curling into a ball. So try to ground the tailbone back down. Feel it curl back down to the floor as you draw the feet in towards your belly. You'll feel a lengthening of the lower back here, as well as, of course, the stretch in the hips from butterfly. One more breath. Good. All right. Go ahead and release. Just hug the knees into the chest. And then from here, go ahead and roll onto your right side. And let's come on up to table pose, hands and knees. Take your time. All right, hands under the shoulders, knees beneath the hips or slightly further back. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, round the back, go all the way back to child's pose. Inhale, come back up. Do that 2 more times. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, rise. Child's pose. And then inhale, come up to hands and knees. Curl the toes under. Lift the hips. Downward facing dog. And since it's the first down dog of class, go ahead and walk it out a bit. Press one heel to the ground. Bend the opposite knee, pedaling the feet. Feeling length in the legs. Feeling length in your back as well as the hip bones reach toward the sky behind you. Good. All right. Inhale, float down onto hands and knees. With your exhale, go ahead and drop your heart between your thumbs and release the hips back, coming onto your belly. Your hands are underneath your shoulders and feel the pelvis grounding toward the floor. And pretty much we're going to lift everything else. So with your next inhale, we'll come into locust pose, lift the head, chest, and the legs, pelvis grounding. Exhale, release down slowly. Let's do that again. Inhale, lifting into locust pose, head, chest, and legs. And exhale, floating down. Let's do 3 more. Locust, inhale. Exhale, float down. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, please. And exhale, float down. Curl the toes under. Push up to hands and knees and downward facing dog. Lifting the hips. Good. All right. So from here, go ahead and float down onto hands and knees again and step your right foot between your hands. Good. We're going to do some rocking lunges here with some hamstring stretching because I promised you hamstrings. So with your fingertips on the floor, inhale, look forward, chest looks forward. With your exhale, go ahead and straighten the right knee, pull the right toes back and fold over the leg. Then inhale, rock forward, look forward, and exhale, straighten the right leg, pull the toes toward you, heart toward the thigh. Inhale, rocking forward, and exhale, rocking back. A good rule here is just keep that right foot flexed the entire time, especially in the hamstring stretch. Of course, the hamstring is the back of the leg. And with our hamstrings, the backs of the legs, they tend to get quite tight. So it's okay if you notice this isn't the most comfortable thing you've ever done, but know that we're bringing some much needed relief to those muscles. Let's do a couple more, all right? Now, as you exhale this time, go ahead and straighten the right knee. Pull the right toes towards you, and we're just going to stay. You can walk your hands back a little bit if you'd like to for stability. And breathe. Always breathing. Good. All right. Go ahead and rock forward and bring the right leg back. We'll come into downward facing dog. And as we do, just notice the difference between the two legs. We've lengthened the back of the right leg pretty intentionally in that last exercise. How does that differ from the left side, if at all? And then we probably better balance that out. So go ahead and float back down onto hands and knees and bring the left foot forward. Good. Getting light on the fingertips, look forward, heart looks forward. Inhale. With your exhale, straighten the left leg, pull the toes toward you. Inhale, rock forward, look forward. And exhale, straighten the leg, pull it toward you. Good. Keep going. Rocking forward, inhale. Hamstring stretch, exhale. Going at your own pace, but moving with the breath. We'll do a few more times. The hamstrings, just like the hips, don't like to be rushed either. So we gotta really let them know we're coming for them before we just go for it. All right, last one, rock forward, inhale, and then exhale, straighten the left leg, pull the toes towards you. We're gonna stay in the hamstring stretch. And you can walk your hands back if you'd like to. And let's breathe. Aware of sensation. Again, I know this might not be the most comfortable thing you've ever done, but bring some breath to those tight spaces in your body. Good. One more breath. And then inhale, rock forward. And this time, go ahead and step the back foot forward. We'll come into the standing forward fold. And now you can feel both legs lengthening at the same time in this fold. And even though the legs are straight, make sure the knees are not locked. There's a little bit of give to them. And allow the upper body to drape over the thighs. Release your head and neck, your shoulders, your hands, your arms, your jaw, your mind. Release your mind. Good. Another breath here. And then inhale, press palms to shins, come halfway up, lengthen your spine, chest parallel to the floor. Exhale, folding down. And then bend your knees a bit more and roll yourself up to standing, a single vertebrae at a time. Chin is the last to lift. All right, good morning. Feeling sensation as we come to standing, hydrating if you need to. I can always use a good reminder to drink water. So I'm gonna have you take a wide stance on your yoga mat now. Nice and feet nice and wide apart, and the toes are pointing directly forward, so not out to the side, but directly forward. If anything, they're pigeon toeing slightly. And this will just give you more access to the backs of your legs and your lower back through this next exercise. So with your next inhale, lift the arms overhead, sweep up. And with your exhale, think about hinging from the hips and swan dive, fold forward and down. Inhale, take the arms out to the side, come all the way back up. Arms reaching overhead. We're going to fold forward again. Exhale, folding down, nice strong back. Inhale all the way back up. Good. We're going to make this just a hair more challenging. Exhale, fold all the way forward. And then take the arms out to the side. Just come halfway up, chest parallel to the floor. And then exhale, fold down. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms out to the side. Strong back coming up. Good. We're going to do that again. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side. Come halfway up. Just float for a second. And then fold down. All the way up. Inhale. All the way forward. Exhale. Good. Inhale halfway up. Float and fold. Let's just do that again a few more times. Halfway up. Just a moment of buoyancy, and then fold down. Chest parallel to the floor at that top. Again, inhale halfway up. And float down. Halfway up. And down. What happens if we stay for 2 breaths? Let's find out. Halfway up. And stay. Even though you're holding, there's still that sense of floating. Deep breath in. And exhale, float down. Good. Let's stay for a second. And feel. All right. So with your hands or fingertips on the floor, go ahead and come halfway up, chest parallel to the floor. Again, you're supporting yourself with your arms here. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, bend your right knee. That's bending forward. And you're going to keep your left foot on the floor, but you're going to feel the inner thigh stretch here. Then inhale, straighten that leg. And let's do the other side. Bend your left knee, bring the knee forward, and straightening the right leg. Good. Exhale, bend the right knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend the left knee. Inhale, straighten. We're just going to keep going from side to side. Exhale, bending a knee. Inhale, straightening it. And try to keep the chest parallel to the floor the entire time. And the hips are on the same plane as your chest. Just kind of lifting and lowering the upper body as the knees bend. Really getting into these hips here. I guess getting into them more. We've been getting into them all night. Just stirring up whatever tension is there. So as you bend your right knee this time, let's just hang out. Let's just stay. You can walk your hands to the right for support if you'd like to, but keep the hips and the heart on the same level, flat plane, parallel to the floor. Breathe. Left foot is flat on the floor as well. All feet are on the floor. Good. Straighten the right leg. Go ahead and bend the left knee now. Don't think about it, just do it. Hands can walk to the left if you want to, or they can stay in center where they were at, whatever feels most supportive to you. And again, both feet are flat on the floor, hips and chest parallel to the ground. The breath is breathing. Everything's fine. Even if things start to shake, everything's fine. Good. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Beautiful. Fold forward. And you might notice you're going a bit further than you were going before. That may or may not be your truth, but just notice if it has. And then we're gonna do one more practice in this wide leg stance situation at this moment anyway. So fingertips or hands on the floor, bring your chest parallel to the ground. Good. So you have an option to take your hands onto your shins. Actually, let's just all take our hands onto the shins. We'll just do that tonight. Nothing, no need to make things complicated. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend both knees. Chest and hips are still parallel. Knees are bending forward. Hands on the shins or ankles. And you're looking just straight down at the floor. And you're just going to breathe here. And everything's going to be fine. Aware of that inhale, aware of that exhale. It's okay if you shake a little bit. It's okay if you feel the muscles tensing to support you here. You're growing stronger. We're going to stay for about 10 more seconds. Stay for 10 more seconds, even if it starts to feel like it's getting to you. Breathe with it. Taking a breath in. Good. Straighten the legs. You can bring the hands to the floor, folding down. Good. And then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, strong back, come all the way up, reach, and release. Good. Just stop for a moment as you come up. Just feel sensation. Good. And then to give your legs a break, go ahead and step the feet together. Probably feels pretty good after all of that wide leg stancing that we've just done. All right. So we're going to move through a sun salutation next, and we're just going to work with the same lunge that we did earlier, the rocking lunge. And yeah, let's just do that. So stepping to the top of your mat, whichever direction that is for you, have your feet stacking underneath your hips. Bring your palms to your heart. And before we start moving, just loop into your internal awareness, what's happening in your body. We've been working out a lot tonight, the hips, the back. You might feel it in your shoulders. Maybe the backs, the legs are giving you some awareness. It's always good to loop into what's going on. Let's start to move. With your inhale, sweep the arms down and up. With your exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward and down. Press palms to shins, come halfway up. And then exhale, fold down and step your right foot way back. Release the back knee to the floor. Then inhale, sweep the arms up. Good. And then exhale, bring the hands down, straighten the left leg, pull the toes toward you. Then inhale, rock forward, and let's step back to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, float gently down onto hands and knees. Then exhale, drop the heart between the thumbs and release the hips back, coming onto your belly. Let's do locust pose. Hips grounding. Inhale, lift the head, chest, and the legs. Exhale, floating down. Curl the toes under. Push up to hands and knees and back to downward facing dog. Good. So from downward dog, go ahead and lift your right leg into the air. And to the best of your ability, sweep that right foot between the hands. Help it forward if you need to. And release the back knee to the floor. With your inhale, sweep the arms forward and up, coming into your crescent lunge. And then exhale, hands to the ground. Go ahead and straighten the leg. Pull the toes back. Then inhale, rock forward, step forward. Standing forward fold. Palms to shins, halfway up. And exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, strong back now. Come all the way up. And palms to the heart. Let's keep this moving, all right? Inhale, sweep the arms down and up. Exhale, swan dive, fold forward and down. Palms to shins. Exhale, release. Step the left foot back this time. Way back, knee to the ground, crescent lunge, inhale. Good, exhale, hands to the floor, straighten the left leg, pull the toes back. Then inhale, rock forward. We're gonna step back to downward dog. Good. Inhale down onto hands and knees. Exhale, bring the heart between the thumbs and release the hips. Pelvis grounding, locust lift, head, chest, and legs. Then exhale, float down. Again, curl the toes under, push up to hands and knees, and back to downward facing dog. Now this time in down dog, the left leg lifts, please. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands. Back knee on the ground, crescent lunge. Good. Exhale, hands down, straighten the left leg. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, step forward. Palms to shins again, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, come all the way up, inhale. And palms to the heart, keeping it moving. Inhale, sweep. Fold. Halfway. And down, right foot steps this time. Knee on the floor, come on up, crescent lunge, lift the arms, turn the heart toward the ceiling, and exhale, bowing forward and straighten the left leg. Good, inhale, rock forward, exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Good, floating down onto hands and knees. Let's bring the heart down between the thumbs and release the hips. Locust pose, head, chest, legs, inhale. Exhale, float down, push up to hands and knees, and back to downward facing dog. Good, it's the right leg that lifts this time. Exhale, bring the foot between the hands, knee to the ground, crescent lunge. Good, hands to the floor, straighten the right leg, pull the toes back. Then inhale, rock forward, exhale, step forward. Palms to shins again. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, come all the way up, inhale. And palms to the heart. We're gonna do one more round. Let's keep going. Inhale, sweep up. Good, fold. Halfway. Left foot steps. Knee on the ground, crescent lunge, inhale. Good, hands to the floor, hamstring stretch, straighten the right leg, pull the toes back. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Hands and knees. Chest press, bring the heart down. Hips release, locust pose. Inhale, head, chest, and legs lift. Exhale, float down, curl the toes under, hands and knees push up, and back to downward dog. Left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot forward, knee to the ground, lunge. Hands to the floor, straighten the left leg. And then inhale, rock forward, step forward. Palms to shins. Exhale, release. Sweep the arms out to the side, coming all the way up. And palms to the heart. Good. Stop and feel. Notice sensation. What's happening in the body. Breath, mind. Good. Taking a deeper, fuller breath. Good job. Just go ahead and just rest for a moment. I'll demonstrate the next posture for you. So we're going to come into what's called frog pose, which is a deep hip stretch. So it's gonna be kind of our apex, if you will, for our practice tonight. So the setup for it is I'm going to step off the long side of my mat. and I'm going to take my feet wide. And the reason why is I'm going to fold forward here in a moment. I'm going to come down onto my knees with my legs wide, and I want my knees on the yoga mat and not on the floor. So if I was starting here, I'd come down and I'd come down on the floor, and that's just not comfortable. Now, with that said, if you have sensitive knees, and it's okay if that's the case, you'll want to bring some extra cushion underneath it. And so what I do sometimes, I take one of my yoga blankets, and any old blanket will do, and I bring that down to where my knees would land. So I know it's a lot of setup, but it'll it'll matter here in a few moments. Good. I know my knees will be around there somewhere. Luckily, I'm not too tall. Good. So I'm standing wide off the backside of my yoga mat. My feet are pointing directly forward so that I fold forward pretty easily. And I bring my hands down and I'll walk my hands off the other side of the mat. So I'm just hovering over it now. Now from here, I'm going to lift my heels coming onto the balls of the feet, and I'm going to release down as much as I can to the sides of my kneecaps. So I'm not actually on my kneecap at all here. I'm on the inside. But if you are on the kneecap at all, that's fine. Just make sure you have plenty of cushion. Now behind me, my heel or my foot is going to come resting on the ground with the inside arch resting on the floor. So they're like frog legs, kind of out to the side. And my heels are just a little bit wider of my knees. So that's the back body here. The front body, you're going to release down onto your forearms. And I'm still on camera, thankfully. You're going to release down onto your forearms. And it's tempting here to just lean forward, but you actually come out of the pose. So you want to stay lifted. And if anything, you want to work your hips back behind you. And we're just going to stay there and breathe for a bit. So I'll lead you through it. If you're already there because you followed along with me, go ahead and just stay there. But if you're still setting up, again, if you feel like you need cushion, have that. We're standing off the back side of the yoga mat, feet nice and wide apart. Go ahead and fold forward and walk your hands forward off the other side. Good. Starting, go ahead and lift the heels. Go ahead and release the knees down. Again, as much as you can on the inside, but if you do, come on the kneecaps, bring some cushion. Release the inside arches of the feet to the floor and come down onto your forearms. Good. Now, once you're on the forearms, begin to traction or glide your hips backwards behind you. And at a certain point, maybe quickly, maybe not, you'll hit a wall, meaning that's just how far your hips will let you go this moment. And I want you to breathe at the wall. It's another one of those postures that's probably not the most comfortable thing you've done in your life. But no matter what your mind tells you, I would really love for you just to try to stay here, despite the discomfort, because those little impulses that tell you, get me out of here, that's just your fight or flight response. It's supposed to kick in when you're feeling danger or that your life is threatened. And though it might be uncomfortable, your life is not being threatened here right now. So, in that knowledge, you know you can stay. It's just discomfort. You can breathe with that discomfort. Do breathe with whatever you're feeling, whatever is there. Keep the hips tractioning back. Try not to clench your jaw, relax your face, and just breathe into whatever you're feeling, all right? We're going to stay for just another minute or so, which might feel like a long minute to you. Just keep breathing. Keep the hips tractioning back. You're almost there. At a certain point, you realize you're not really sure how to get out, even if you wanted to. Luckily, I'm here. I can help you with that. So, when you're ready to come out, take a deeper breath first, and then walk back up onto your hands. You can let the hips kind of hang forward a bit. Bring the soles of the feet closer to one another behind you, and then begin to walk the knees together. And you can stay facing the direction you're facing. If you want to, we're going to come into child's pose. Seat to the heels, forehead to the floor. Now, the sensation in the hips is still happening. That unwinding of tension is still happening, so stay present to it. Staying for one more breath here. And then carefully bring yourself on up. Good, good. All right, so that's always a fun one to do. It's one of my favorites. I've written articles about it. I've cried in it. That one has a lot of story. We just have a couple more postures to do, and then we'll take a big rest. But to finish off, let's go ahead and come back onto our backs for just another posture or so. So coming to lay down. And your first instinct when you lay down might be to hug your knees into your chest again. So if that's your instinct, go ahead and do so. It's okay if it's not. Maybe just noticing what's happening in your body. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the feet flat to the floor, heels underneath the knees, prepping for bridge pose. Arms can stay by your side if you'd like to. With your inhale, go ahead and pick up the hips, press the pelvis toward the ceiling. And we're just going to go ahead and stay right away, pushing the hips up and breathing. One more breath. And then exhale, release the hips on down to the ground. Good. Walk your feet away from your body a few inches. Take them as wide apart as your mat. And just like before, let's go ahead and inhale, take the knees to the side. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, knees to the side. Exhale to center. And your arms can just rest out to the side. If you'd liked having them overhead earlier in class, go ahead and do that. It's up to you. Just unwinding any residual tension from the work that we've done in the hips, which has been so much. A lot of work in the hips in just an hour. Deep breaths. Just a couple more times from side to side. And then go ahead and bring your knees back to center. Let's hug them on in. Knees to chest. Holding onto the shins. Let's just hold the knees still here. Back flat on the floor. Taking some deep breaths, just feeling the stretch in the lower back and the hips. And just feeling the grounding nature of this posture. 2 more breaths. All right, so when you feel complete here, go ahead and extend the legs down to the floor and have the heels about mat distance apart. Toes falling outward. This allows the hips to truly relax here. And your arms can just flop out to the side, palms face up. Just relax your face, relax your jaw, and anywhere else that you might be holding tension in your body. And as you rest here, become aware of the movement of your abdomen. Other parts of the body might be moving too, but just notice the belly rising away from the spine as you inhale, relaxing back toward the spine as you exhale. Inhale, rise, exhale, release. And just allow your awareness to be trained on this movement. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, release. Peace. 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 Please go ahead and take a deeper, fuller breath. Make some movements in the hands and feet, the arms and legs. And rolling to your right side. And as you're ready, coming on up to a seat. So sitting tall once you're there. Bring your palms to your heart and bow your chin. And just honor yourself for all this work you've done here tonight, digging into these hips, sitting with discomfort, moving past discomfort. And may all of that effort and this practice continue to serve you. So until we meet again, namaste.